Greetings, Summoners. Cosmic here, and welcome back to the Champions Corner once more. We have the GOAT, the legend himself, Caleb Albert, who is not only your Pro Tour champion, now your Monroeville champion, and also made the finals of Tulsa. So this guy has just been on a run with it. So other than that, if somehow people don't know you, Caleb, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got introduced to Battle Spirits Saga.
So it was really interesting. So I was looking for a new card game in February. So I was like just looking at stuff. I was like, ooh, Flesh and Blood, that looks cool. Oh, look at One Piece. And then I started narrowing down all this stuff. And then I came to BSS and I'm like, this is a great game. I want to try it out. And then I found like the Discord and whatnot, played some games. I'm like, yep, this game's amazing.
Yeah, how about other games that you've played before Battle Spirits Saga? Like, a lot of people talk from either Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, kind of like the big three, but what else did you play that, that introduced you into the hobby?
So, yeah, honestly, the first question, it kind of led me to during COVID. So I wasn't really playing card games around 2018, 2019. But when COVID hit, I just started missing everything about stuff that I couldn't do. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to play a card game. Because why not, right? It's COVID. And I played Magic Arena. I was grinding that game, getting like top 100 ladder every month and whatnot. And then doing their events or whatever. But then it like really made me want to play like IRL events. I just got that itch back basically. So yep, and I did that. And then before like I did Hearthstone. I did pretty good in that. Basically just these ladder, card games. And then I also played Yu-Gi-Oh! That's kind of like my first love, I guess.
Yeah, especially with digital clients and with COVID, all of us just wanted to like get back in person. Like I was playing Legends of Runeterra for a long time, and then I got to a point, especially with Battle Spirits Saga announcement, I was playing a little bit of Flesh and Blood. I'm like, man, I just really want to get back to my local game store and like see people again, right? Everyone talks about how great digital clients are, but don't get me wrong, by no stretch of the imagination are they bad per se, but you don't get that paper, in-person feel that I just missed out on so much. So, online clients do have kind of the pros and cons associated with them. But you mentioned Yu-Gi-Oh! So was there anything, was that something you just played casually? Is something that you played, did you go to regionals or anything like that for it? Or kind of what was your history with Yu-Gi-Oh?
So Yu-Gi-Oh! I started as a kid. I went to locals probably at 9. So like I was, or 10 even maybe. And like I would just like play for fun, as a kid. And then I did that for a couple years. Then I got to like 14, 15. And then I started going to like, me and my brother, we would travel and do some events like, close by Michigan. Like we wouldn't like go too crazy because, our parents were like, let's go that, too crazy in it. But like if there was traveling distance, we were able to go. So
nice.
So yeah, we would do that a lot. We weren't like very good, but then we started, getting pretty good around around 17. We started getting pretty good, and I top 8'd YCS actually. It was like
nice.
one of the biggest ones of the year. It was like of all time actually. Of that of that year, it was like 1,500 people. So it was a lot of people.
That's huge, man. Actually, that's impressive. Yeah. Congrats. A little late for the congrats, but congrats nonetheless.
And then basically what happened was I got like for top 8ing, it was like so stressful, so hard. I got a Nintendo DS. and then I quit it because of that. I felt so jaded.
I love how so many people have that story because I remember like Ryan Miles and a few others were like, yeah, I just topped this like 2,000 player event and I got a box of product for like $50, that it's worth. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I would have quit the game on the spot. And a lot of people do, it turns out. But, like Magic, like Pokemon, the big three, they're called the big three for a reason. But I myself find myself slipping back to Magic on occasion. Haven't picked it up just yet. But I was like, maybe I want to pick up, play some Modern or something again. But I've avoided the Siren's Call so far. But with that out of the way, let's talk about, obviously Monroeville, that's what we're here for. You're the champion of Monroeville. Yep. But again, really, you've just been on this heater with Axe Spider and, Wurple, Axe Spider plus Depths, whatever you want to call it, right? And I know that you'd mentioned that you'd gone to Ohio and you played Pterosaurs, but really, what has kept you on Axe Spider, right, for these 3 events, other than the fact you just keep winning or getting second, right? Obviously, money's really good, but, what draws you to the deck in particular? Is there something that you really love about the strategy behind it? Do you feel it's just that strong? Like, what kept you playing at 3 events in a row?
Well, I'll be honest. I know. So before the Pro Tour, I just had this fun deck. Basically, it was the Axe Spider deck. I didn't know anyone even built it because I didn't like the original Axe Spider. I didn't like all those creatures. There was like,
Yep.
oh my gosh, I think they played like 32. I would like do test hands, and my whole hand would just be creatures. I'm like, yeah, get this out of here. And then I'm like, I want to have it more ratio. Like, I love like around 26, 25, 26 creatures. 18, 17 to 19 spells, and so on like that. So that's how I want to play the deck, is have a good balance. And so I mean the deck that I got first at the online event, that was like my style. I didn't have too much testing on it, but like that was like the first time people could actually see like kind of like how I would play the deck. So like I feel like this deck almost is just like my play style of like how I want to play BSS. So and then I just like kept adding on to it.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about the online event as well on all this. So again, literally just winning everything, it feels like. But I know, like, when we think about Axe Spider overall, there's certain things like we saw some lists that have the 4 Derm Dyna main. There's some lists that have like 2 Elk for the mirror match. And your list in particular, especially from Monroeville, really did feel like it was very heavily targeted towards the mirror match just because some of those tech choices. Was that because you expected a lot of Axe Spider? Is it because you just want to make sure you win that game one? What was a little bit of your thought process behind some of those key cards?
So yeah, basically the King Vulture was just a new addition. I kind of just wanted to just throw in more tech cards for the mirror so I could have more sideboard. I feel like just game one, I want to beat the mirror. That's what's going to be mostly, there at the event in my head.
Right.
And then I could just sideboard for other stuff like, purple, aggro. There just isn't really that much aggro. So, but, and just like those other decks, because you just really just want to beat the mirror.
And so kind of leading into that, right? So obviously there was a lot of mirrors. I myself played 4 Axe Spider and I was on the green deck, but I swear Axe Spider was like every other table in Monroeville, it felt like. But what are some of the other matchups that like you really wanted to avoid? Was there like one deck in particular to say like, hey, I never want to see this if I'm playing Axe Spider? And maybe you had tech for game 2, game 3, but something that you just really wanted to try to avoid during the Swiss. And then of course in top 8 if it made it there. But like, what was the deck that you did not want to see?
Yeah, so that's the good part about this deck. There's only one deck I didn't want to see, honestly, and that's just that purple swamp. Just that's just like tech for the Axe Spider matchup. So that was that matchup. I just could not really figure out how to get me to like a winning percentage. It just felt like at best maybe it's a 50-50, but it usually just did not come to that at all.
And just for those that are maybe not familiar, and just so I'm on the same page, right? I'm assuming you mean the Ryan and Zach combo list, right? The previous Champions Corner that we did for the channel. So definitely go check out Zach's interview as well. And I really love that list too. And it's one of those things that like watching Zach get to play it and like the turns that he was able to sequence was just like so beautiful to watch. And like one of the things I really love about Battle Spirits and how you're able to, really the cores decide our fate, which is I know kind of cheeky, but like it does work out that way where like every core you pay off feels like it matters in some matches. So it was definitely a very sweet list. I'm very curious to see, how things might change as we go into, we have Glasgow this weekend at the time of recording this. So we'll have this up right as top 8. We know what top 8's going to be, right? And then we have, I believe it's Oceania after that, and then Chile, if I remember correctly. But long story short, there's 3 different grand opens that are happening between the time of recording this and end of the month when we get the lore set. But of course, we do have that message from the devs that said, hey, we might be banning something, right? So I think the one thing that we just have to, we're not going to diverge into this whole conversation of X and depths and all that stuff again, but for the sake of this video and for the sake of the overall discussion, right, let's assume depths gets banned because that has been like the main talking point and something that Bondi was definitely aware of. So in your opinion, right, as we think about the lore set in particular, and I don't think there's anything in the lore set that probably helps this deck, but it might shake up the meta. Where do you think Axe Spider goes from here, right? Is there certain ratios that you're thinking about? Is there other matchups you believe, like Green Swift, being a thing with the new Tokiwa and just perma-tapping your board, right? Where do you see the meta going? How do you think you might evolve the deck for, future events? And for us, it's the Pro Tour, but, for other people that might be watching this for future Grand Opens.
Yeah, so just to clarify, would this be with a depths band or?
With a depths band, yes, sorry.
With the depths band, yep. Okay, so yeah, if depths is not in the deck, I would probably try and I think you could easily slot in like some Star Blast draw. I would definitely be adding that in. Probably a Mothership too. I think Mothership was actually really good in this deck. When I faced Ryan Miles, it just felt so good. When I played him in round 7 of Pennsylvania or Monroeville, it felt so good. So honestly, you could easily slot that in right there, and that's just so solid. Just from like a starting point.
Yeah, I remember in Tulsa we did see that like red Axe Spider that had the Volcanic Canyon, had the Starblast draws. I think there's a couple. I think they had a break. I think in the sideboard maybe there was some other red tech. I can't remember. Like other than Burning Forest, haha, right? Yeah, Volcanic Canyon's great for reducing Burning Forest as well, because why not have it all? But that's what I really like. I think Starblast draw is just a card that, especially if we continue to see it key when summons coming out of the blue spoilers we just saw. Green's, of course, going to get a lot more of them. Yellow is just, unfortunately, forever when summon the color, right? So I think Starblast Draw is definitely a card that just continues to get value. And a card that, hey, sometimes you just want to draw 3 or 4 cards, and that's exactly where you want to be. And in a pinch, just pay 2 to draw 2 if you have the reductions for it, right? Why not? I don't think Smag is going to be joining us in the Axe Spider list anytime soon, but hey, with some of those blue floodgates we had to look forward to, maybe we do get to see Smag making an appearance. Who knows? But other than that, we talk about red Axe Spider, but is there any other colors you feel like might be worth splashing? We did have, I got to give a shout out to Anthony, better known as Dongo, in the Discord, who played like a yellow Axe Spider list with Exhaust Nexus and had King Pudding, as we like to say, or Charles, which was doing really cool Charles and Joker stuff, right? Is there any other color combinations you feel that Axe Spider could maybe evolve into as well? Or do you think it is more of just always going to be this like heavy wall up white control style that then just has a couple splash options as for the other colors?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not a Charles believer at the moment.
Shun the non-believer.
Non-believer right now, unfortunately. Sorry, Dinga. I just want to make it as consistent as possible. So that's why the depths made the deck more consistent. You play it down, then you draw cards. Of course, that's going to be more consistent. So like I don't know if I really. Like, the only thing I would splash is probably just, like, red cards. Like, maybe you throw more of the 0 drops in now that you're playing 4 Star Blasts. And, yeah, probably just do that. Because you're not going to need King Vulture anymore with the depths ban.
True,
so,
very true.
Yeah, so you have a little bit more leeway. There's just so much you can do. It just really depends on the meta. That's why another reason why I love this deck so much is I feel like I can beat any deck as long as I know what the meta is. I can slot in cards. So it is tough to say like, oh, what would you do now? It's like, honestly, I just need to play test, see what decks I think are the top, and then I can build the deck accordingly.
Yeah, that's been one of the key things coming over from Japan Battle Spirits, right, is they are best of one game, no sideboard, and now, especially with how good things like Dream Bomb, right, Dream Bomb has made an appearance, and obviously Burning Force, some of these key Magic cards have been splashed in a wide variety of decks, and just having access to a sideboard opens up so many more options for us, and white being the, heavy control color always is going to have very solid answers or protection from other colors, right? It is one that I think really can benefit the most of the time from having those extra sideboard slots and just preparing for that game 2 and game 3. So it really does, we are here very early in the set 3 spoiler season, but I'm kind of excited to see what else white gets, right? We know how strong Enterprise has been. That's still a thing that's going to be in sideboards for like ever, it feels like just armor red, purple, white. It just feels like it's going to be good forever, right? Durham Dyna giving you the unblockable. We saw Dream Blizzard of all things, make an appearance earlier in the previous meta. So there's a lot more variety that we could see leading into this, and then who knows what new boss monsters or key spirits might be available to us later on in the set 3 spoilers. And I guess the other thing I'm going to surprise you with that I didn't prep you with before this interview, have you had a chance to look at the blue spoilers?
Yep, I glanced at it today, so I know there's some spicy stuff, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, did anything... What caught your eye? So, I gotta, well, I guess I'll have the really quick disclaimer for it, right? Strong Draw is insane. I am so happy as we did not get hand reverse. For those that don't know, that is like the key staple for green as Strong Draw is for blue. So the fact that green didn't get it in set 2 is like blowing my mind now that Strong Draw is confirmed. So like we have to get hand reverse. And for those that don't know at home, hand reverse is a 5 cost, I believe 2 green reduction. You discard your hand. You draw up for however many cards your opponent has in their hands. So obviously, in a green ramp style of deck, when you're vomiting your hand on the board, it is literally just I'll discard 1 or 2, draw 4 or 5, right? It's fantastic. It's amazing. And we didn't get it for whatever reason. So Strong Draw out of the way, because hopefully that's the SPR. And if it's not Bondi, I will cry. Give us the SPR, please. What else caught your eye out of blue, right? Is there a certain, are you a mill enthusiast at heart? Do you like more of the control strategy? Like, what really spoke to you out of the blue spoilers?
It seemed like interesting. There's 2 cards. Sorry, I do not know the names. So I'm just gonna
just say their effects. Totally fine.
Yeah. So it's I think it's 5 costs, and then I think you can kill up to what is it, 5 costs or lower?
Yep.
Or combined, basically kill up to 5, basically, right?
Combined costs 5 and lower. So if it's like a 1, and a 3, right? Or if it's a bunch of zeros, rest in peace tokens, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Just keep going. Yeah, that card I really like. And then surprisingly, I think the second card I liked. Actually, it was the Golem, where like you could it was almost like a Pegasone.
Oh yeah.
If you have that card, actually low key might be pretty good. Maybe. It just like from the review, just like from the blue card so far, it definitely seems like the Strong Draw, the other spell seems very strong. But yeah, I definitely want to see more of the creatures and see what it has to offer. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So I'll put the image up here when I go back and edit this all as well. But it gets to, while it's exhausted, as long as your Nexus has the Soul Core on it, it can block 5 cost and lower and just be a wall. And yes, its BP by itself might not be that exciting, but we do have some Nexus cards that can kind of beef it up for you. So it can become like an 8K blocker, which is pretty good. Like if you're blocking 5 or less, like that's a pretty solid spot to be in. And then keep in mind, we will likely get other Nexus cards that help either buff them, give you value for blocking, things of that nature, right? Like I really love that blue has it all. That's why it's my favorite color in Battle Spirits, right? We have core ramping, we have mill, we have floodgates, we have taxation effects. So there's so much that the color can do. I'm really just waiting to see what side of it we get. And there's even a card that's like destroy all 4 costs or less spirits when it comes into play, and it's like an 8 cost or something, if I remember correctly. So there's so much control options that we could get out of blue that would be nice to see a good control option that's not just purple, because I think that's one of the areas, and obviously white, but that's more of like big guys plus unblockable, right? More like actual heavy board control. We've already seen the War God that like can delete multiple things that cost 3 or less when he attacks. More things of that nature. I'm really excited to see what type of board control options we get out of it. But really kind of the one thing that you'll notice as you're going through these spoilers, you want a lot of stuff to be level 2, but their level 2s require like 4 or 5 cores, so we need a little bit more ramp. So I hate to say it, but Worker Ant-Man might just be sliding himself into yet another deck because that guy just does everything for us. Man, I don't know how much you've been playing with him, because obviously you've been playing Axe, been winning a lot, but I mean, like, man, I can't stop putting Worker Ant-Man in my list now, and like it just does so much for keeping that core economy equal, that if it's going equal and then I'm also having access to like my dream bombs and stuff, like I'm probably just killing you. And like I love that the more tempo heavy focus that it allows. So last chance, any other cards that kind of caught your eye that you might are looking forward to, or are you just more excited for spoiler season to hopefully we get more cards tomorrow? So we'll see.
Yeah. I'm just hoping to see more cards. I'm hoping that I just hope that they're more willing to do a little bit more of the power level of the cards, because I feel like set 2 was more of like a supporting set,
Yep.
which didn't make too much sense for me. So I wish that they just kind of like don't make something like absurd like like other cards, but hopefully they can just get the power level up a little bit higher, because people love to use broken cards, so. People love it.
I think blue's in a pretty good spot, at least between the flood magic, really between strong draw. Like I knock on wood wherever I have wood in here. I don't want to jinx it. I think blue's at least looking really good so far. Of course, we should hopefully, again, we're recording this the night before and it's late, by the way. Thanks for recording late at night. We haven't seen any of the main set X rares yet, or the key spirits or the key archetype payoffs, things of that nature, but that will probably determine a lot of what we'd expect to see, because I think at the end of the day, right, like, white still wants to use Derm Dyna. Like, it's hard to imagine a world where you're not still just playing Derm Dyna because it's unblockable, because it has a good amount of reduction, right? And it's just so good at what it wants to be doing. So I'm really curious to see how they eventually solve that. Like, Loki's fun to play, don't get me wrong, but it does still feel like it's a support set for a token archetype that isn't quite there yet from like a more mid-range style. And even then, it's like, oh, the best combo is still Derm Dyna plus Loki, so you have a multi-attacker unblockable for the turn to OTK your opponent. I just want to build a white deck without Derm Dyna. Like, I just bought the SPR, so maybe not, because they're gorgeous. But, I would like to have a reason to use a new white X-Rare, so we'll see what tomorrow brings in the future spoiler reveals and all that. But with that out of the way, let us do the final shout out here. So I like to always give a chance here at the end to our champion. If you have any special shout outs, testing partners, shout out your LGS, friends that, helped you get there with the testing, and, not just this event. If you want to give a shout out for someone for, Tulsa or the Pro Tour, have at it. The floor is yours.
Yep. So I'll just make it short and sweet. So I just want to thank Kai for always, play testing with me. He's like, a pretty good friend. I met him on the Discord, actually. So that was pretty, like, that's how we met. So yeah, he's always been nice. Always been, basically play testing with me. And then I want to thank, AFK Games, Zach, that, runs the whole thing there. So without him as well, like, I just wouldn't be able to get the cards or anything to even play. Because, yeah, so it, so that's great. And then, who else do I want to thank? Maybe just like the whole community, honestly. The whole community is just like so nice, honestly. Like, I've never been in a community that's like so awesome, honestly. Like, I come from Yu-Gi-Oh, so it's like the opposite.
I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah. So this community is like so different, and they're just really welcoming. So I just hope that we can just continue to grow, and I just want everyone, I just want the game to be popular, because I think it's a great game. So.
Yeah, that is the one thing that we always go back to. Obviously, the key discussion for set 1, set 2, now going to set 3. We definitely need to, work together as a community, go support your LGS, hype up your locals. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a time to grow the game, because it's super cheap to buy in. The community is super supportive. And there's great events. I mean, like, how many games can you say that you can have like $100 competitive deck and go win 7K, right? Like, all the spikes should be playing the game at the end of the day. So definitely look forward to for the sealed events that are happening this month at your local game store. You can go pick up that new Absolute Ice Shield in the packs. We are going to have the release coming up for before that, the lore set drops at the end of this month, and I am a Tokiwa enjoyer, so I am very much ready to pick that up immediately. And then also the lore book is really cool. And then we will have a special launch event for Aquatic Invaders at your LGS, which is going to... I keep hearing rumors about special swag that's going to happen, but I can't say anything yet because I don't want it to be on video and someone will go back like, haha, he said it. But fingers crossed, if everything comes in line, I think there's going to be a really sweet prize for locals, which I'm really looking forward to, which will then, of course, hopefully lead into even better stuff for set 4. So with that, huge shout out again, Caleb. You are amazing. You are just on a heater. I know a lot of people are saying, I know you're not going to the Pro Tour, but whatever event you play in next, you're probably going to win it or get second again, because you've just been doing amazing, and we love to see it. But With that, my friends, for myself and Caleb, have a wonderful rest of your week. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Bye.